What's going on, everybody out there? This is Tahir Johnson, and I'm live with Devin Alexander and my man Reginald Stanfield from Releaf and JustinCredible Cultivation. We started off in Boston this morning with my man Shayun and Adedeji, and then we got these brothers here to talk about their accomplishments up there in Massachusetts. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, man? Hope you guys having a great day.
Yeah, man, definitely good. So, Devin, man, we'll start with you, brother, man. Tell us, tell for everybody out there listening, tell us a little bit about Releaf and how you got started in the industry.
Yeah, so my name is Devin Alexander. I'm a lifelong resident of Quincy, Massachusetts. Quincy is a town 10 minutes outside of Boston. I was part of the first cohort of the state's social equity program, which ran from September to April. So I was part of the entrepreneurship track. I took 14 courses ranging from business plan creation, marketing, advertising, accounting, so on and so forth. And when you're part of the social equity program and you're economic empowerment certified, you have a 2, potentially 3-year window to run delivery services. So I really thought that was the crown jewel of the equity program. So that's why I pivoted towards the delivery license. Delivery licenses, they're exclusive in the sense that they have what's called pre-certification. Pre-certification acts as the equivalent of a pre-approval to a mortgage. So I had to write 12 SOPs pertaining to delivery, a business plan to obtain general liability insurance and product insurance. And the CCC says I'm all good to go. And that's supposed to help me go through the process much easier. So we still got some time to go, but the wheels are moving forward.
That's what's up, man. So that sounds like there was a lot of information that you learned as you went through that process to do that. How long did it take you to go through the entire program?
It was an accelerated course. It was 6 months, so it was a lot of information coming at you fast.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so Reg, I know that you're also, going through the licensing process up there too, man. Tell us a little bit about JustinCredible and where you're at and how you got up in the game up there.
Yeah, so basically, I've been growing something all my life. I was a businessman first, so I never thought I would be into agriculture. I was doing multiple other businesses, and I saw Mass go live with their cannabis program, the cannabis industry and everything, and I knew it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So I started watching it since 2016. And when you guys put out the license in 2018, I was in Texas. So I shut down 2 of my businesses and I started investing and getting myself ready for a bigger investment. And I know that might sound weird to some people, but when the access to capital isn't really abundant out there, you have to do things with. Live by airport, my bad.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, you have to get yourself in a position where you can be invested in, which is, to some people who don't understand business, is kind of like a weird concept, but we had to place ourselves in that process. And as a small business, it took a lot. We had to do everything with no guidance. Now they have a lot of guidances out, but then they didn't.
Right. So did you go through any of the business training programs up there in Mass like Devin did too?
No, I didn't go through any of that. I'm a general applicant.
Got it. Okay, got it. And so you transitioned, like you said, from owning a business outside of cannabis as well. And Devin, I know that when you and I talked, first I want to shout Devin out and say our social equity scholarship program, Devin was the first person that applied and that was accepted to the program. So big shout out to Releaf. And everybody that's in the program. But I know when we talked, one of the things that you talked about was how valuable it was for you to transition your previous existing skills. And I know you spent time in the pharmaceutical industry prior to getting into cannabis. Could you talk a little bit about your professional background prior to cannabis and how that helped you to get into the game?
100%. So for 4 years prior, before working in cannabis, I was a pharmacy technician at my local CVS. So I had to fill scripts electronically, ones that people would drop off. I would have to talk to doctors. I would have to talk to insurance companies. People would come through the drive-through and we would have to fill prescriptions right there, counting the pills on the tray, and just standing on your feet the whole day. It was insanity, but it prepared me very well to transition into cannabis because I was doing a lot of similar tasks. But with cannabis, working at a dispensary, people are 21 plus, not open to the general public because we're a medical one. And people are just generally more happier to be at a dispensary than obviously,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? If you're at a pharmacy, there's a more than 50% chance you're not feeling good, you're sick, you just want to get your stuff and get on in there. But when you see people walk into a dispensary, it's like a little kid on Christmas morning. They're just so happy to be in there. They're just like, I can't believe this is legal. I can't believe they're doing this right now. I just don't get tired of seeing their faces for their first time.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely remember that feeling. My first job in cannabis, I was a bud tender at a dispensary called Releaf up here in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where I live. Tell me more about that experience working in the dispensary. What is it? What are some of the different ailments and things different ways you've seen cannabis be able to help people, in that experience there?
Yeah, it's crazy. So the dispensary I work at is like 3 miles down the road from the pharmacy I used to work at. In Massachusetts, there's very heavy restrictions around advertising and marketing. So you can't post billboards for your dispensary, you can't post TV ads, radio ads. So a lot of the people have to find out from word of mouth. So when I was over to the dispensary, I would see a lot of the people who are used to helping the pharmacy, and it's crazy. They would come in and they tell me, oh, I was taking 5 medications before. Now all I have to do is just smoke this strain a couple times. It helps people with multiple sclerosis. It helps them with their arthritis, their inflammation, which is really a big benefit, and it doesn't have the underlying adverse effects that all these pharmaceutical prescription drugs have on their body.
Right. Yeah, man. And, speaking of that, cannabis is definitely, something natural, right? That is one of the benefits of it. It comes from the earth. And Reginald, I know you said that you've been growing stuff your whole life. So this transition to cannabis, and kind of this type of agriculture was an easy transition for you. So tell me a little bit about, what is it? What are some of the keys to successful cultivation? What are kind of some tips to that, and how'd you get started in cultivation? Period.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I've been growing forever. I was in the tobacco fields in North Carolina as like a 4 or 5 year old walking or riding on the back of a truck, excuse me, and just seeing something planted. Like even here in Maryland, we have all types of fruit trees and plants in our backyard, and we live in a suburb, so you don't normally see that. If I take you guys around back, you'll see blueberry bushes, you'll see black. So we've always touched plants. Cannabis, it was natural. I was what people will call a stoner for a very long time, and I'm not a really big medicine user. I'm not a person who will grab a pain med if they're going through something. Even though I have like hip surgeries that I've been through, I'm not a big user of painkillers and pharmaceuticals. So it's only natural when it's a part of like your culture already, and then. I'm a person who like at one point I was like, hey, let me just see if I can grow indoors because we've grown outdoors all our life. So let me see what's the transition. And so that's kind of how it was for me. Let's experiment, earlier, how, growing inside. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I kind of like try to scale it at that point. So it wasn't super difficult, but it was kind of natural, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And so what is your favorite cannabis strain? What do you think is the best thing you've grown?
Man, that's crazy because I don't really I'm not one of those people who believe in a best strain. Like we don't really know that much about the cannabinoids that are in marijuana and cannabis yet. So I don't have a favorite, but there are like characteristic traits that I love. Like I'm really big with like not really crazy high THC strands. So like I love the purple Urkels. I love the super silver hazes. Like I love certain things that give me an effect that is just not stuck on the couch. Like I love what I mean? It's just all different types. Like growing plants is another thing because I love how certain plants grow compared to other ones where you'll have strands that are a little bit annoying and they act like children, where you have strands that would grow underneath any condition. So it just matters as the person, I think. So
Right, yeah. And Devin, do you have a favorite strain?
GMO. Definitely.
GMO, yeah. This morning on the check-in, I saw you were off that.
That garlic, mushroom, onions, that funk, that stuff.
Oh man,
that smells like the inside of a homeless man's pocket. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, man, that must be good, man. It sounds crazy. One thing I want to ask you, bro, you guys are up there making moves in Massachusetts. Less than 5% of ownership in the industry are African Americans. What does it mean for you, Devin, as a Black man, to have an opportunity for to get into the cannabis industry?
It means a lot. We only have one minority economic empowerment license owner right here in Massachusetts, and that's Kobe Evans, Pure Oasis.
Shout out to Pure Oasis, yeah.
So to be able to add to those numbers would mean everything to me. I've had a lot of people over the years tell me how I wouldn't accomplish much messing around with cannabis. So I just really just wait and prove them all wrong.
Yeah, that is something that it's an opportunity for, now it's a whole industry, right? Worth billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. How about you, Reg? What do you, for you, especially as somebody, like you said, you're actually not an economic empowerment, applicant, but you've been able to build your business. What were some of the biggest struggles that you faced on, trying to get to where you are? And, what does it mean for you for this opportunity that you have?
One of the biggest struggles is just information. There's a lot of stores out there that aren't compliance people. Oh, I don't know. Am I still alive? Because there's everything.
We still hear you. Can't see, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm back. Hey, everybody went dark. There's a lot of compliance. There's a lot of growers out there, and there's a lot of people who can do a different phase of the license that don't have the education or the knowledge to write the plans that the CCCs are requiring. Now it's a little bit more friendly. Like I said, they started releasing a lot of guidances and a lot of this is how this is supposed to look. This is how this is supposed to look. But when I came into the industry and I was writing my application in May of 2018 and further, we didn't get any of those. We usually got, ask your lawyer, refer to your lawyer for this. So where they just put out different definitions of things for the positive impact plan, and they didn't even have like an example or guidance for it. It was really, really vague. Have measurements, have long-term goals. They didn't define what they meant by long-term goals. So it was a gap where the CCC was figuring themselves out, and you had to kind of enter and give them everything they wanted because they're the gateholder. So that was the biggest struggle, dealing on a municipality level where people aren't educated about the cannabis industry, and you're going into there and trying to get them to allow you to use allow you to open your business in that said state, that said city, or that said town, is another gap because a lot of people don't know even what it means, like what they have to, with the 1% or 3% they're able to take, what it's for. Some of them think they should just get taxes off the top, where it's supposed to be for the money that you incur them during your business, is not supposed to be just free tax income. So it's different things that was harder for me to go with because we didn't have any help, and the CCC at that point weren't giving off a lot of guidance.
Right. And that's definitely true. When you're opening up a business like a cultivation or a dispensary, like a location, having the right location is a big part of it.
Okay.
Zoning and all the different things that go into that. That's one of the reasons I think delivery services are a great opportunity for people of color because it's less capital intensive. Devin, what was it that gave you the idea to go for, what encouraged you to go for a delivery service instead of like a dispensary, like most people, or a lot of people probably would have thought to go for?
Yeah, just being that exclusivity window. So when you're social equity or economic empowerment, you have a 2-year, potentially 3-year window, which me and my fellow social equity colleagues feel is an inadequate timeline. We're trying to get that bumped up to 3 years before. So that exclusivity of being able to run delivery operations before the big players like the Nettas and the revolutionary clinics and all them can hop in. So being able to really get control of the market before the big dogs was really appeasing to me for that license there.
Right, and I know that you're really active there, lobbying for economic empowerment applicants and some of the things that people want to see. What are some of the major things going on up there in Massachusetts that you all are fighting for?
Yeah, so this past Monday, the Cannabis Control Commission held their public hearing testimony meeting where they had over 100 participants speak out about what they'd want to see to the regulations being revised, since they're currently in the public comment period right now, and they're going to vote on the new regulations on September 24th. So one of the big themes of the public comment period was allowing delivery licenses to be able to wholesale product from product manufacturers and cultivators. Currently, right now, as the delivery regulations are set up, it's something more like an Uber Eats business model where you have your location, you pick up already pre-packaged, and every single day you have to return everything that you don't sell back to the country. So it's not a financially feasible business model, and us being allowed to wholesale it and store it overnight is something that we're really pushing for.
Okay, and you're born and raised there in the area, and so as an economic empowerment applicant, what are some of the other things that you that you want to do for the community to give back? Once you are up and running.
Yeah, so it's actually a requirement. As part of the licensing process, you have to have what's called a positive impact plan. And that's basically a plan stating how you're saying you're going to help areas that have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. My home city of Quincy is one of those areas. So really just giving back to the nonprofits, doing community cleanups. And really just, I'd like to collaborate with the local community colleges and just teach people about the industry and how they can get involved. And, there's more than one path than just retail, ancillary products and all the other stuff that really doesn't touch the plan, but is still involved in the industry.
Right, absolutely. There definitely are a lot of lanes to get into the industry. Reg, what do you think are some of the things that were most important for you on the journey to help you to get here? Because like you said, you worked on writing the application yourself. You did a lot of things yourself. So I'm sure that saved you a lot of costs from having to hire outside people. How did you get the expertise that you needed to be able to do all those things yourself?
So I got the expertise by running a bartender service that's currently operating in 4 different states. And we had to go through a lot of red tape with what we wanted to do, because we it was different. It was like our insurance was an industry that nobody covered or nobody knew about. We took on some of the alcohol costs from caterers, where a lot of bartending companies just send bartenders at our temp service. We created our own training. So that had to be processed through the Maryland Higher Education Commission, and they had to approve it. It was just different steps that we had to go through. So, just going through those, I kind of looked for other applicants, and luckily I found one that was put out in Cali by a medical company, and it was public data. So I looked at their application and kind of like modeled mine after theirs and just made tweaks, fully towards cultivation. And it was trial and error. It was asking a lot of questions. I know a lot of people who have put in this application allow their lawyers to make the contact with the CCC. And I think that for a small business is a huge mistake. We received our provisional license, I think the day, like 4 days before we were supposed to, on the 90 days timetable that they have, where a lot of businesses that I've been in contact with, it took them a couple of months afterwards. But, I was bugging them every day. I was on the phone calling them, sending them emails asking, hey, I got first name basis with a lot of the supervisors in the licensing department and in the inspection. So you have to, if you're a small business, you can't, even if you do get, $5 million to invest into your company, you're still not a big player. So you have to kind of have that same tenacity to get your license, like Devin spoke on, to get to the market as fast as possible before the huge companies do come and set up shop or take over.
Sure. And did you have to get outside investments to be able to grow your company? And if you did, what are some of the things that you can do, especially as an African-American business owner, to make your company attractive to investors? And also, how do you make sure that you maintain ownership, like you said, because I know that there's a lot of people out here that want to try to take advantage. So how do you negotiate those business deals?
So like a lot of my business deals were done by people who I'd done business parallel to. My biggest investor actually came from a land deal that went bad, and they were a part of that team and they separated from the team. So I kind of got lucky with that aspect. So I did have to end up bringing in outside investors. A lot of them, some of them were family or friends. But you have to raise capital the best way you can possibly do it. The way I raised capital, I had some deals early off that was bad that I had to go back and find ways to change it, pitch it differently. But most of the times, even if you have a beautiful business plan, you have every metric down, the person or the people or the company, they're not investing in a business plan once they meet you. They're investing in you as a person. So you can have everything beautiful on paper. And a lot of times I notice the bigger investors, they don't even read your business plan. They go straight to your financial section. They look at your ROI, they look at your EBITDA, they look at some of your margins. And then after that, they just listen to you. You know what I mean? They want to hear, as much as if I'm a cultivator, they want to hear as much knowledge about cultivation from me. They want to hear about the market. Like they want to hear about what happens when there's surpluses, what happens when the market reaches capacity. What is your plan? What is your exit plan? They don't want to hear, oh, I'm going to start this business and make millions and millions of dollars in the next week. You know what I mean? You have to be realistic. Even if you feel like you can raise 10 million and you can go tier 5, there's nothing wrong with raising $1 million and starting off tier 1 and then rapidly expanding. It's called proof of concept. A lot of people, they jump the hurdle and want to go straight to the big town, but why should I, as a person or investor who don't know you, jump straight over to big investment? I got to get to know you first.
Right.
So
right.
That was like the biggest thing. My biggest investor said if I would have came to him with a $5 million or $1 million investment, he wouldn't have had joined with me, but he ended up investing $500,000 anyway.
Right. And business planning is definitely so important. When I tried to apply for a license here in Maryland, I went through a program similar to Devin here, like for training and business development. Devin, for you, for advice that you have for people that do want to get in the industry, are there any tips you could give about the importance of business planning and everything that it takes to kind of get the business up and running?
Yeah, careful planning leads to great execution. You know what I'm saying? It's a marathon. You don't just wake up one day and run 26 miles. You gotta be in this for the long game. It's gonna take a long time. Stuff's not gonna go your way, and you gotta be ready to pivot in these situations. But a great tool that I was taught in the equity program is this website called Live Plan, LIVE. Plan.com. It's really user-friendly to help create business plans. It'll help you make pro forma projections, cash flow assumptions, and it'll create an investor pitch deck, which you can convert into a PowerPoint presentation. And it's like $20 a month. It's really awesome. You can start paying whenever you want to. And it makes running a business plan seamless. There's a lot of examples on there too that you can draw from if you ever feel stuck on any part of the business plan too.
Man, you just dropped some jewels for folks out there because people pay big money for business plans. So to be able to have a resource like that is definitely a good look.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, Devin, another thing I want to ask you, especially with you being a social equity applicant, could you talk a little bit about why you feel like social equity is important, and why that should be at the, one of the top things that we consider as we talk about legalization in the cannabis industry?
Yeah, the war on drugs is basically a war on Black and brown people in America. So the ACLU did a study saying that African Americans are nearly 4 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis use than their Caucasian counterparts. The cannabis industry is mostly dominated by white males. So especially with the whole Black Lives Matter movement going on right now, is the right time to get this right. Equity needs to happen. It needs to be on everybody's mind. There's a lot of Massachusetts is lagging in a lot of aspects of the equity program. There's still no real source of funding for the equity program, people. You look at California, you look at Illinois, and they've allocated capital to really help their equity applicants. So there's current legislation going on right now in Massachusetts Congress, but I don't know how serious all our senators are about this. It's really in the back of their minds. And so we really just need to push it forward and bring it to the forefront and keep spreading awareness. A lot of these companies, as part of their positive impact plan, is they want to donate and help these equity applicants, but they just really having trouble getting into the proper funds, and they have a lot of money waiting in escrow right now. So there really needs to be a solution. Instead of the industry, like we should be having it funded by the industry. Last year alone, Massachusetts brought in $425 million in tax revenue. I still drive down the street, there's potholes all over the place, and I still haven't gotten any no interest loans. So I'm really wondering where all that money's going to.
Facts, man, facts. And
you mind if I add in on that?
Yeah. I was going to ask you to add on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you actually wound about the social equity aspect, your conversation with him, but me and him have that conversation a lot about what it means and how social equity can be done incorrectly and give opportunities to people who are going to end up being, manipulated or preyed upon. Massachusetts does make, with certain applications, you have to be 51% ownership and all that. I think when it comes to equity, the biggest thing is could lower some of the gates that you put in front of some of these businesses. So it doesn't make sense as a tier 1 facility person where I have all of my workers are owners, that we have to go through certain plans and certain protocols that a company with a tier 5 facility with 50 employees have to go through. We should have different processes of getting our license. We should have a whole portal that is set aside for small businesses and equity owners. I shouldn't have to go through an entire class to prove that I'm a minority business. All you need is the IDs of my owners and proof of my capital structure to see 51% of my business is owned by a minority, or whatever the number. Mine is higher, but I'm just saying that's all you need. You check the IDs and the race of the owners. You see the proof in the document of my documentation. You see that we're owned by a veteran, we're owned by a woman, we're owned by African American, we're owned by a Native American. So for us to have to go through another process to get our minority status while I'm going through a process of building my business, because I had to build my business myself. I was outside pushing up steel beams to put my facility on the ground. Like, I didn't hire contractors to do all these things. I hired a contractor overseer, worked for him, and me and my partners, we put up that building. We did the drywall, we painted, we did all of that. We did everything besides electricity, foundation, and plumbing. So when we did things, I shouldn't have to go spend hours of my day to go through a minority packet to be declared a minority business. Right. I shouldn't have to do that. It's too much on my plate. I shouldn't have to write year 2 plans in year 1 when you have to renew your license. Even the renewal license phase is not ideal. You in Massachusetts, your license starts when you're provisionally licensed. So for us, if you tell them you're going to start, 4 months after you're provisionally licensed because you're not supposed to build until then you literally had 6 months worth of building a building for cultivators, and then you have 6 months left on a license. And that's if you get through the scheduled licensing and you're in the front of the line. So you may have another 2-3 months of waiting to get inspections done. And by the time you get your final license, like me, I have to renew it, 4 days later. So tomorrow when I receive my final license, I have to renew the same license by the 14th of August, which doesn't make any sense. You're just getting more money out of me now. You know what I mean? That's all you're doing. You're draining my bank account through all these red tapes. You have all these different plans, like where he had to write 12, I had to write over like 75 SOPs, policies. You know what I mean? I had to write plans for everything. So you have to try your best to balance out some of the things that are done, and you shouldn't have, you know what I mean? It's if we're going to not call this a Schedule 1 drug, and we're not going to call this something that is, against the people, hurt people, then why don't we treat it like so? Why are we treating, my police chief came in my building and like, you guys, I read the security regulations and you guys are tighter than Fort Knox. Why? I thought this isn't a Schedule 1 drug. If banks don't have to do things that we're doing, if certain alcohol stores don't have to do things that we're doing, if pharmaceutical companies don't have to do things that we're doing, why do we have to go through this extent of work to get a license, Or a good idea I had for the Cannabis Control Commission would be to allow growers to get a growing license. And then once they get that growing license, then they have to go out there and get a business to help them, pair with them to write their compliance and everything out. You know what I'm saying? Let me prove to you that I'm a grower. Then I can prove everything else around it with a team. But if I go to an investor with a grower's license, they're not going to require as much equity from me as if I go to them with nothing. If I say I'm just a person, I have an idea, I can grow good weed, but I need an accountant, I need a lawyer, I need a business model, I need all these things. So when, you know what I'm saying? So that will help them out. If you are a retailer and you ran retail stores, but you don't know how to write an application, if you can go to them and prove your resume as a retail manager, write you a plan that's all about your retail store, then let me get a retail provisional license. And then to get my final license, a condition is I have to have a certain member on my team who handles compliance. I submit those later so that when I go to raise capital, because that's what I noticed with raising capital, every step that I got, it was easier for me to raise money. They didn't want us less. When I was in the beginning with $0, 8% of my company might have sold for 50,000. Now 1% of my company sells for, 200,000-300,000 because I'm getting ready to be licensed. Right. So you get what I mean? It's a different, you're giving a different ability when you start thinking through certain things. And I know the Cannabis Commission is made of talented, smart individuals, and they need to start thinking more of smaller businesses if that's what they intend to do.
Right. Well, yeah, I know y'all definitely have people like Shailene Title up there fighting for y'all. I've been following some of the stuff she's been doing. And of course, I've seen you, like you said, building that building from scratch. I've seen the pictures on IG, literally putting up beams, man. So big shout to that. But I want to focus on something you just said. You just said it real nonchalantly, man. Did you say final approval tomorrow?
Yeah, man, we go for the final approval tomorrow. We made the agenda for this one. We passed our inspection with no discrepancies, which was major. So, I mean, unless they just don't like us, man, I don't know why we wouldn't catch the license tomorrow, So, yeah, we got recommended.
Congrats, man. Big ups on that, brother. So, you come through on that. Would that make you the second Black person in with a cannabis business like this up and running up there?
Unless I'm uneducated by another business, it will be me, Pure Oasis. That would be the only two operating Black companies.
Nice, man. Congrats, man. And Devin, I know you're really close too, man. How close are you, to getting to your final license and everything?
Yeah, no, I'm not as close as him. So I'm really just trying to obtain right now what's called my host community agreement. And the host community agreement is a contract you enter into with the municipality you're operating in. It's 5 years in length, and it's basically saying you're going to pay 3% of your annual gross sales to that city or town. And honestly, I think host community agreements need to be abolished. It's a big, huge roadblock for a lot of entrepreneurs in the cannabis space here, and you see a lot of extortion going on at the town level. There was recently this mayor, he was actually around my age, he was 27. He was the mayor of a city called Fall River, and he was extorting these cannabis businesses for like $200,000 and like 15 pounds of bud. You know what I'm saying? Living that Grand Theft Auto lifestyle. So they've definitely been under the microscope now, and so that's where I'm at in the process. And once I can really get that host community agreement, and then everything will start flowing a lot faster. I can do my community outreach meeting, and then me being in the social equity program, my license gets expedited through the queue and through the licensing process.
Okay. Well, yeah, man, I'm definitely rooting for you, man. I'm keeping an eye out for when we get to hear that you got through and we celebrate on that, man.
Oh, man, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. And as you know me, I'm always trying to connect Black businesses and brothers and sisters that can do business together. Have y'all met? Do y'all know each other already?
No, I'm glad to meet you, man. And I see that you're doing home delivery, and I hope that I can be a champion for you to get that, because I know that's going to be a struggle, and I'm pretty sure retailers are going to fight against you guys buying directly from wholesalers. But it's a part of an industry that has to develop, and in a free trade economy, which we should be in, it shouldn't be this restrictive for somebody to have a business idea because of competition, and like you said, the HSAs they're a big scam at a certain point, because I don't need I don't need anybody's approval to go open up any other business in anybody else city or town. I shouldn't need anybody's opinion or, you know, decision to go open up a cannabis business. Is not fair. Is giving too much power. Then there's towns who are taking 3% from certain businesses, but only take 1% from another one. So you have that imbalance going on where they can control like what you have to do, the times of it's just too much control, where this is supposed to be a free market economy and it's not. Cannabis is not treated. It's treated like kind of like a capital, you know, a communist business is getting treated weird. And I don't understand how we as a body, I think a lot of us are just trying to get our license, and we're forgetting that people are going through the same struggles, and that once you get your license, you're supposed to reach back like, hey, you know, what did you need? What do you need help on? You know, somebody reach out to me and want to see all of my plans that aren't releasing, you know, sensitive information. You can get my positive impact plan. You can get my diversity plan that passed, because my first 8 submissions didn't pass. You know, I got opened up for more information over and over again. Even to handling that, you know, I would tell you to stay on top of them, because they've opened my application in the portal and didn't email me a couple of times. And, oh, we didn't know what happened. So I wasted weeks with an open application where that could have been time. You know, they sent me back for more information on parts of my application when I've already fixed that, and then they'll just open up a new RFI like they didn't read what I sent. So you have to really stay on top of the Cannabis Control Commission, and they do fair lawyers. You know, lawyers do get better results, but also they get limited results. So you calling them, you know, constantly, and they can tell you more information than if your lawyer calls up and try to get stuff from you, because they're going to be very direct and not give out information that can damn them. So that, you know, that's very important in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I know you've been going through the process for a long time now. And when I did my pre-certification, I got some RFIs, and it was other people really pushing for that, like yourself, more transparency between the process and the commission. So I don't know if you've seen it recently. Now they have like a tracker when you submit your application, and it tells you your spot in line, you know. So it says you're in this queue, you're number 8, you know what I'm saying? And then it was crazy. I was refreshing the page, I kept moving up, and then I kept refreshing, and they sent me an RFI in my email. They told me exactly what I needed to do, and I sent it back. But it's crazy, because with delivery, there's obviously the social equity and there's economic empowerment. And in terms of priority, economic empowerment is above social equity. So they get priority along with all the medical marijuana dispensaries who were previously medical marijuana. And then it goes social equity, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, LGBTQ+, and then general applicants. So it's like, I would submit my application, and then somebody with economic empowerment would submit theirs, and they jump like 3 spots ahead of me. I'd get pushed back. It'd like a limbo. It would drive me crazy, you know.
Yeah, they need to do a little bit better, and I'm glad that they have a tracker finally. Because I remember sending emails like, do you guys give out updates on where we are? And they wouldn't even tell me, oh, we don't. You know, they literally said we don't tell people what spot, because they started telling you, okay, you're number 6 in queue. You know, they used to say that, and then they stopped, and now they're doing it again. I mean, we have to understand that it is a new industry as well. There are people who don't know what they're doing, even if they're commissioners, if they PhD this. You can't expect the industry to be open with new people, and they're not bringing over this Colorado ex-commissioner or this Washington ex-commissioner. They're building it from the inside of Massachusetts up. So it's understanding that this industry is new. You know, it's understanding that this industry is going to have bumps. And like my licensing, my inspector said that they've kind of overhauled their process, whereas before inspectors were going out there and trying to make sure people fail. You know what I mean? Now they're going out there trying to make sure you pass. They have different inspectors with different attitudes, and you have people who are bought in a little bit more. So it is great as the industry develops, but it's still going to be hard. You know, it's still going to be hard for those applicants who don't know anything about how to grow. And, you know, for minority businesses, it's okay to combine your business with somebody else's business. If you find a product manufacturer who does have a team around them and you're a grower, it's not a bad idea for you guys to partner up and go into this application process and go into this business by yourself, help each other grow. You know,
it's not bad to do that. You know, it's not bad for, if you're a retailer and there's a grower out there, it's not bad for you guys to partner up and go in it as a company of one. We're going to be going against some major players. I saw MedMen put in their getting their provisionals on the same agenda as me. So there's, you know, there's going to be some people coming in. Simply Pure is going to be coming in. You're going to have a lot of big players, you know, that are going to start coming to the Massachusetts market, and we have to get there first and put our stamp on it so that we can get paid and we can start expanding, so that when you start your business, or how I started mine on tier 1, you know, next year I'm trying to jump up to tier 5 or tier 6. You know, I want you to start, you can start with a couple of trucks or vans. You know, you should be able to, after your first year, double to triple your size of your operation. And if you stick to people who are also small businesses, you combine skill, you can get there a lot faster. And that's what I had to learn, you know, to take hints. You know, I had a lot of people like Timacell Wellness, shout out to them. I had Eagle Eye Transport, shout out to them, who actually came and did mock inspections for me. And they were like, no, you need to change this, you need to change that, you need to add this, you need to add that. Or they looked over some of my plans and they were like, hey, this is wrong, add this, you should be saying that. So I got a lot of help. I reached out and I asked. You know, I went to the NCIA conferences. I went to a lot of NECANs in the beginning. I probably went to all of them at the very beginning, and I met and talked to as many people as I possibly could and got their ear for what they had to do. And I took that as my knowledge, and I kind of jumped over some, you know, red tape. So I say for anybody going through the application process, you have to be a student of the game. You have to learn from those around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny you said that, because I know the owners of Eagle Eye, Catherine and Raphael. I used to work with Catherine, and so they've been a great help through all this. Yeah, they're the first third-party transport license in the state, and they just got their conventional operations not too long ago too. So very excited.
Yeah, they're going to be my transporter and my testers. They're my distro. So Eagle Eye is amazing. Yeah, Raphael, Catherine, they're getting ready to be minority owned too as well. They got a partnership coming into their business that are African Americans that are buying into theirs in a nice stake. So they're going to be minority owned as well. So it's great that you come from them. That's amazing. You know, a small world.
Yeah. I talked to Matt Knox yesterday about that. Actually, that's so funny.
Oh yeah, really? I just met the Knoxes maybe like when I think like the first week in July. I just met them for the first time.
Definitely a small world, man, and I'm glad that we could get y'all brothers to connect, and hopefully some big things come out of that, man. I'm super happy to have y'all on here, man. Like I said, I'm rooting for everybody black, but I'm rooting for y'all in particular to see y'all win and kill the game up there en masse. Anything y'all want to tell the people, last comments before we roll out of here?
Yeah, so I've recently formed an association for delivery drivers. It's called the Massachusetts Cannabis Association for Delivery, also known as MCAD. I started as the vice president. Christopher Febvre started as the president. Morris Partee is an advisor. Aaron Goins is an advisor. Janelle Goins is an advisor. Nikki John is the event coordinator, and David Hinton does social media. And we really just formed it just so we can give knowledge to the delivery applicants and really help them through the process. And we need to band together before this exclusivity window ends. And so, yeah, we partnered with Weed Maps. We've sent this application around where people can write to the CCC for the public comment period, which is going to end on August 14th at 5 p.m. So I can definitely send that link out to people. You know, we're just trying to get the word out and trying to get these regulations the way we want them to be.
Yeah, send it to me, man. I'll make sure I share it. And how about you, Reg?
I mean, just look out for JustinCredible in your dispensaries. We're going to try our best to become a major strand, a major player, a major cultivator. Anybody else who needs help, want to reach out, I'll try my best to get back with you. I don't know how to share my contact information, but you can look us up at jccultivation.com and reach out to us that way. The Instagram is going to be live soon. I'm going to start dropping pictures daily, what we've done in the past. And, I kind of deleted everything. I'm going to start with a day one type feel, and I'm going to try to keep our experience from here out recorded and updated, frequently, so people can see what we're going through in real time, because sometimes it sounds like a story. It sounds like a movie of the things we have to deal with. Anybody entering, just keep trying. There's going to be times where it gets hard, times where you feel like, man, it's just, I don't know if I can do it, but you can eventually get through no matter how many RFIs you get. Just keep submitting, keep trying, keep Googling, keep asking for help. You know, no matter who you reach out to. As you see, me and Devin have a mutual connection now, didn't know it. And now, you know, that's something I could reach out to him and help him with, and he can reach out to me in the future. And that's just a simple connection. Work with people like Tahir, because he's a crazy connection boss, and he has all the insight of the game. So you guys are following the right man right now.
Yeah, hey man, and you know you're my brother, man, literally, man, my Masonic brother, man. So, and folks, man, you know we supporting Black businesses. That's the wave, man. So look out for JustinCredible tomorrow, hopefully, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Massachusetts, man. Shout out to everybody up there. You know, hopefully I'm going to try to get up there with my brother Shayun can open up his dispensary. So I'll definitely check y'all out if I'm in town for that. And let's stay in touch, brothers.
Definitely appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Yeah, talk to y'all soon. Y'all be safe.
All right.
Yeah, you